Episode 5.
It is.
It is. We just did a bit of an intro that went a bit south, didn't we? So we're learning, but
We are. I mean, mine was better. But
it was a bit more probably enthusiastic, but that's what caught me off guard because I've never heard you enthusiastic about doing a podcast ever. So yeah. But yeah, we're here. Episode 5 for us. I think we've done 5 with other people too, so that's 10. So this is double digits, and we are 1 episode away from where most people quit.
We're at 0 views.
Yeah, we're on the way. We're doing pretty well. Last 2, not good at all. But like I said to Nick in the last podcast, good thing about having guests is I can blame them. Like if no one watches, I can be like, well,
it's your fault.
Yeah, you ain't got no friends, so. But yeah, when it's just me and you, we're struggling because you'll obviously blame me. I'll have to take it because I'm driving this entire thing. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, no, it's equal. But I've also got the same pool of friends, so clearly they're not very good at it.
And they like you more than me, so maybe you ask them to watch
maybe. Anyway, so what's the theme for today?
The theme for today is objective versus subjective.
Well, this could be fun.
Yeah, I think it's something that gets conflated quite a lot, and I think people don't understand the difference. And I had a quote that Jimmy Carr gave. I don't think he actually was responsible for the quote, but he was responsible for passing it on to me.
It.
Yeah. That was life has never been objectively better, but subjectively worse. And I just want to dig into that a little bit and see what drives those types of behaviours and those misunderstandings between those two things.
I like that. Well, before we do that, do you want to talk about a quick recap on the last couple of weeks?
Yeah, so the last 2 weekends, probably good practice for me going into next year, not actually being at an event with the pop-up. So,
but still at a gym.
But still in a gym and still at events. But on the other side, I've competed twice in 2 weekends.
And how's that felt?
An old dog like me, it's a challenge. But the first one was Hyrox, which was amazing. I did doubles with Charlotte Bess. I know she's an avid listener. I'll watch her.
She smashed it.
And she was absolutely incredible. Like, she literally, like...
She kept you going.
Yeah, she did. Like, I was like, she paced the run and our runs were really consistent. And yeah, it was just really good fun. But from an event point of view, obviously we do loads of events and we're at events. I think like obviously people probably have done Hyrox or seen Hyrox in operation, but to be there and just to realise how much onus there is on you as an athlete.
It's just so slick.
I thought it was cool because it's like, there's none of this, be here at this time, do this, do that. It's like, right, here's your start time. This is a check-in desk. That's the floor. Do what you fucking want.
That's a big timer. It's on you.
Yeah, and I love that because it's like, you know, like at some events, it's like you see them holding up workouts, waiting for someone to come because they're having a wee. No one knows the start time. I actually just like, right, you've paid. Your responsibility, crack on. And I thought it was brilliant. And like it ran seamlessly from our point of view.
Ran very well.
So yeah, really impressed with the whole setup. The sort of magnitude of it, I don't think you appreciate until you're there as well. It's just massive. And then, you know, just seeing your name on the board as you run around, you feel like a real athlete. Because there are some real athletes there. But I'm like, oh, it's my name. I actually feel like, come on, we're running here. But yeah, I thought that was really cool. So like, seeing how that's growing, and I can see why now, having done it, it's
really cool.
Yeah, and having done it as well, it's that sort of, because it's repeatable and because it's the same test, I kind of want to do it again now to see
if you can better it.
Yeah, it's like, it's exciting. And yeah, so that was really cool.
And BF3, we've been doing some bits, haven't we?
Yeah, we've been finalising all the kit for that to get them all ready to rep Team GB in the middle of December at the Super Worlds. That's exciting. It's this year we're obviously doing it a little bit different to how we'll do it next year because we haven't had the benefit of time this year. So we're using our current sources and products to be able to add on top the GB logos and things like that. So we're being as creative as we can be within the constraints of the time limits that were imposed upon us. But next year, it's getting me excited for next year already. Just like, because you've seen all the, the Olympic kit, it's all garish and Great Britain all over it. And that's what it should be for stuff like that. It's supposed to be a bit
like... pride, isn't it? That's why they get into it, definitely.
And it's just awesome. So, yeah, that's been really cool. So keep an eye out for that kit coming up.
Gym Sync?
And Gym Sync, yeah, we met with Nick I don't know when it was. And we talked about how Gym Sync came to be. That was if you've not seen that, not many have. Just log on and have a look because it's just a really interesting concept, the Gym Sync model.
There's been a huge take-up there, wasn't there?
Oh, massive.
Loads of gyms
I think I'm looking at Revolver, which is happening like sort of now-ish and over the next couple of weeks. And there's like 30 odd gyms signed up to it. And it's incredible. So the reach of that and the simplicity of it is just like, it soothes my soul to look at it.
It's very you, that type of work.
Yeah, it's just a low barrier entry. Any fitness level can do it and feel part of a competition, because that's the thing that I notice about comps, and we've noticed through the Defiant Games. A lot of people are not turning up to win. They just want to go and be a part of something fun and challenge themselves. And people that look at it with that mentality will always enjoy a competition, because it is fitness at the end of the day. The only person you're really competing with is you. Are you better than you were previously? Has that hard work you've done in the gym paid off and give you a better placing in a comp? It is just you. So I love the fact that you can lower that barrier of entry to the point where your everyday person can go and get that experience and get that sort of motivation to do a bit more. Definitely. I think it's great. So keep your eye on GymSync.
And then lastly, Coffee Pods Wods?
Coffee Pods and Wods. So we've been working with Peter, Pedro, as Savon and the crew call him. But yeah, Peter White is like incredible what he's building with his podcast and like how prominent he is in the space. We're sponsoring his show for the next few months until the end of the year, but we're also doing a great giveaway with him with ESC Sounds. I always thought that was Escape Sounds, because ESC, everywhere you see it on a keyboard and everything, it means escape. And then obviously doing the due diligence to do the giveaway with him, it was every second counts, which I kind of like.
I really like that.
But yeah, so we're doing a great giveaway with them where they're giving away a speaker, some of their Series 3 headphones. We're matching that, and then there's one of Pedro's teas that we're giving away as part of that. That's live at the moment, and then moving up to Rogue, which we're on the horizon of. We'll be doing the first time we've done a comp where you can sign up on the day at Rogue via an iPad. So that's going to be a cool model for us to see how that works and see what take up on that there is. But that's a nice sort of pathway into Rogue. So
coming this week.
Today is Monday, the 5th, 4th of November, and we go to Scotland on the 6th, ready to set up on the 7th for Rogue, ready to sell some shit on the 8th, 9th and 10th, hopefully. I say hopefully because we are waiting. We have got 27 boxes of stuff on the way to us. And yeah, I could so easily freak out right now because we ordered extras for this event. Obviously, we're stock, so it's not a problem long term because we know we'll shift it, especially with the quality of the hoodies and crew necks that are coming.
But it was
the challenge is,
this,
we ordered more for this. It's not a case of not selling it. It's a case of you don't want to be holding loads of stock. You don't want all your cash tied up in stock, and that's a good lesson for anyone, especially in this space. And cash flow is a challenge for all sort of clothing brands in the space. It's one that we hear. Like, I remember even chatting to Dan from Wit. He was saying that even Wit in their glory days had cash flow challenges. It's just the nature of the beast. So yeah, although we will sell that stuff, it just limits our spending power until a bit of it's gone, doesn't it? But hopefully it will come. Last time I checked, it was still clearing customs, whatever the hell that means. It's been doing that for 5 days. But yeah, we've got a contingency, haven't we? Because we will. Yeah, we don't start selling until the Friday. So if it means sending someone up, if it comes a little later than when we set off, we'll send someone to sort it because.
Just on the road.
It's only 7 hours away, the sound. But it's more the excitement of those new products. We want to see how they do, don't we? Because, like, you know, in the back of our minds, they're obviously going to do great. Otherwise, we wouldn't have ordered so much. But it's still, when you see people buying them new bits for the first time, it's exciting. And you do feel like, we've got that right. Definitely. So, we want that. But we've got the Rogue tee that we'll be selling.
Yes.
That's a really cool graphic tee. So that will be ready. And we have got hands on that. Should have brought one here to show, actually. It is really cool, but they'll see them on socials. It's like a big Union Jack and USA flag smashing together with one of our notorious skulls in the middle. It says Defiant gone Rogue on it, and we even spoke to Rogue first to make sure they let us, because
just in case.
As with all good companies, though, they're protective of their intellectual property. Their name is like their entire brand, so we didn't use their logo, but we still thought it was best to ask, because we turn up to their event and they say, "You're not selling that." Might be a bit of a problem for us, but they were really good about it, and I love that. Because Katie and Bill that run Rogue, obviously, I don't know them, but they're part of the community. They came up through CrossFit. CrossFit was, their community. They've grown. CrossFit's given them a platform to go and be successful, and what they've done is incredible. But, it shows that they still have an eye on the community and still want to support the brands that are supporting them. So I really like that, because it would have been easy for them to just say, not that it was them that made the decision. I assume they've got a team in place for that, but it shows that the values of that company are still seated in the community. And I think that's really, really cool. So it wasn't just about the fact we can sell that tea. It was just that they are not so far disconnected from that community, given their success, that they allowed us to do it. So I thought that was really cool.
Definitely.
So one for me before you move on. So we did Thrive 25.
We did.
So do you want to tell everyone about what that was, and then the sort of you taking yourself out your comfort zone and having a bash at something? Yeah.
It was a invite only to an event which basically gave a fast track run through of the things to do to make your business successful. So to basically get and keep customers. So I invited sort of between close networks and people that knew people that would be interested, all within a local-ish area, to Casa for the day. We invited a guy out from EC Entrepreneur Circle HQ.
Entrepreneur Circle that we talk about quite a lot, don't we?
And he came and gave a little chat, and it opened a lot of people's minds in a lot of different ways as to the things that they may or may not be doing right in their business, because you can get so stuck in the day-to-day that I think people forget sometimes to sit outside of that and look at it from a customer's perspective. And he gave some really good real-life examples to make them hit that home a little bit harder. But it was nice to be in a room full of entrepreneurs, business owners that banded some ideas around. And yeah, it's just the power of the circle. They say you become the average of the 5 people that you spend the most time with. And it's so nice to be around people that are in a similar mindset, probably in a similar journey to you, and just letting the guard down a little bit and talking about the challenges that they're having, or what could they do, ideas about what they'd have over X, Y, and Z. I mean, there was a woman there who wanted to realign all of her pricing strategy because it was too confusing. And everyone was like, yeah, it just doesn't make sense. So just bring it down to 3. So she was asking everyone's opinions. And it was something that everyone knew. Everyone knows about what you're doing. Otherwise, there'd be no point in being in business, more or less. They might not know you as a brand, but what you're selling or providing, people should understand it. So it was really good to get a room full of people to have those conversations. So yeah, been really good uptake, keeping in touch with them, and definitely do one again. I think next year, the comfort zone thing of doing a 2 or 3 minutes speech.
You stood up at the start, didn't you, and spoke.
It was, it's just an irrational fear of mine, like to the point I have nightmares about it. Like I don't know if I'll say it out loud, which I probably shouldn't, but the reoccurring nightmare is that I'm at my school on stage with no clothes on at assembly. And it's basically the same feeling that I get when I have to, probably when I did this, or I get behind a camera or stand up in a group in front of a room full of people, even though that's weird because I did 8 years of group classes. Yeah. So I probably should have started like that.
What, naked?
Everyone give me 10 burpees. No! Everyone give me 10 burpees and I felt at home. But it went really well, and the guy really liked it. In fact, he's used it as a model for anyone. It
was brilliant. And you were like, that's the thing. I think like you have that irrational fear.
Yeah.
And you know, it's okay that you feel like that, but it doesn't stop you. You still put yourself out your comfort zone. You've done it with this, and people watching have like said that you can't.
I'm
really
getting
tell.
better.
Well, yeah, but and then that you delivered it really well. I like the way you called on people in the audience to like give their experience and stuff. I thought that was cool. But one thing I just want to say about what you just said when you were talking about the circle. Now I have an interesting theory on the circle, and I've shared it with you before, but I'll share it for the benefit of the podcast because I just think it just be interesting to see if other people agree. But like they say, like when you're in a circle, you're surrounded by great people. And I think that for you to be in a circle with people that you respect, it's like sort of twofold in terms of how it benefits you. So one, you get like sort of the nuggets of information of people that want the same things and are motivated by the same bits. But I also think that when you are in that environment, if you say stuff out loud in that circle, you respect those people and you want them to respect you. So you almost hold yourself to account for what you're saying because you don't want to let them down, even though it's not letting them down in the strictest sense. They obviously feel the same about you as you do about them from a professional point of view because you're all in this circle. So yeah, if I say, right, I'm going to do this, you want to impress them almost because you obviously respect them. So I think it's like sort of twofold. Not only do you get better ideas because you're talking about things in the same manner, but I genuinely think that you hold yourself to account to impress these people that you want to impress and that they want you to impress them. And I think that's something that probably people overlook, you know what I mean? That sort of...
Well, it's like with everything, isn't it? I think that's one of the conversations I was having with someone that was there that day. She sent me a load of dates with conventions or meetings or things that were happening in the diary, both through the EC and other areas. And I think that's hugely important. I think you can get so bogged down in the day-to-day of life that you don't lift your head, whether it be reading books, watching podcasts, or listening podcasts, watching whatever it is, but furthering your knowledge and actually go into those things and investing in those things, which is even more so. Like, people paid to be at that event. Granted, it wasn't like, it wasn't expensive, but still they've got skin in the game.
Yeah.
And investing in their knowledge. And even if you come away with one nugget, which is everything that I've ever done or ever gone to these conventions or meetings, if I can come away with one thing, then I've made my money back.
Yeah.
It's just with a lot of things that you do or take on, it's the action, not the knowledge. So once you've got the knowledge, it's how you implement it and take it forward that people fall down. And that can be a whole host of things, not only just business, but life skills, feeling better, being healthier, eating right, going to the gym right. You can learn everything on your phone. Like, it's literally 2 seconds away from knowing what's right and wrong, but it's the action that's the difficult bit. So that was it was interesting. So I'm planning next year and all the bits that I want to go to.
I think there's some great stuff with the EC, like we always say, but you always take away a nugget, like whether that's the monthly meetings at Tickle Trout where we're around those people, or whether it is bigger events like that, or even bigger ones like the stuff we've been to in the past. If you approach it with an open mind, you will always, always, always take something away that's useful. So I think that might lead us nicely into Torie's top tip then, because that's what people are tuning in for. Hopefully you've not used too much of it there, because you've already given a couple of good nuggets out there.
True, very true.
What we got today on your TTT?
TTT, where's my jingle?
It's not here yet. I don't know what he's doing, actually.
Customer avatars.
Customer avatars.
Yeah, it was one of the things that was covered at the event at Thrive 25 a couple of weeks back, and something that I've been talking to quite a few of my clients about recently, that when you say customer avatar, people struggle with the concept in the sense that they think that it's just one per business.
Well, let me just go back a bit then. What is a customer avatar?
So a customer avatar is your ideal customer. They refer to it as ICP, or ideal customer profile. So that is the outline or description or embodiment of your perfect customer. Okay. So who are you trying to attract? That ICP or customer avatar, whatever you want to call it, it's that. So it's how that is described.
Right.
Does that make sense?
It does.
So the conversation I had with a client recently, in fact, a few clients, which is, right, well, where do I even start? So I said, well, the best place to start, especially if you've been in business a while, is pick your favorite customer, like literally by name. You know, either his or her name, age, what she does or he does, how many kids they've got. Generally, you know what their job is, therefore their salary, what they do at weekends, where do they go. And it's that information that you need in order to figure out how you get in front of those people. I actually had one that was not more challenging, but I think it was more the mindset that was a little bit different to what I was used to. And they were saying that within their industry, everything was backhanded. So it was only a case of who you knew. I cannot remember what the saying was, and I wish I'd done it before this, but it's just come to me. They say you're only 5 people away. So someone that you know, that you're only 5 like friends referrals away to making it big, like finding out that person that would change your life. So networking is one of the most, I think that's the statistic, I think it's 5. So networking and talking and having those meaningful conversations is really, really important. And that's how it was that reminded me when we were talking about their customer avatar or their profile. How do we get in front of the people? Who do you know? Who do they know? And how do we move forward to be in front of them? Because it's not a case of it's just one conversation. It's subliminal messaging. It's seeing your ad X amount of times over, or for a lot of people, products on TikTok 5, 6, 7 times with different reviews on. You can't generally do one marketing campaign and have absolutely nailed it. So yeah, it's the various customer avatars.
So from a customer avatar point of view then, so let's look at it from the Defiant point of view.
Yes.
So how do I effectively develop a customer avatar when we can't drill down by location because we're e-commerce? We have products that could arguably be bought by anyone that can use a card online. So the age is,
broad. Yeah.
Broad. We've got women's, we've got men's. We appeal to everyone. So if I was going to try and drill down into my ideal customer avatar, it's different with the print services because we can be quite specific, and I can think about the favorite customer who spends the most. What do they do? How do we make their lives better? But when it's the Defiant Co, arguably anybody in the world could be our customer. Like, how do we appeal to everybody and then not by default appeal to nobody because our net's so broad?
I'm glad you've asked that. So when a lot of people, I'm glad you said that. When they say that, if you appeal to everyone, you'll end up appealing to no one. Yeah. So you are right. You can appeal to a multiple range, and we do have a multiple range within the Defiant Co and other businesses. So the whole point of a customer avatar is I'd put it in brackets. So say it's, for example, 18 to, I mean, what's a uncool age before they start getting to 21, 25? No. So say you 41. Did 18, you're way down the scale. So if we go 18 to 21 or 18 to 25,
yeah,
and you write that profile, so the name's Jack, he goes to university, he does whatever it is. So you literally write down exactly where they're going, where they're hanging out, where they're drinking, what they're doing at weekends, etc., etc. But then all your messaging needs to be relevant to that age bracket. So your imagery is an 18 to 25-year-old in your t-shirt or leggings or whatever it is. If you're wanting to sell oversized t-shirts, then it should be a male in that age bracket. And your marketing campaign, if we're talking about marketing, should then be 18 to 21-year-olds. They then relate to the person that's in there. They then, the chat's the same, the person talking's the same. The whole point of it is you're trying to solution a problem to the customer, whether they know that they have it or not, which is look good in gym apparel, for example, for the Defiant Co. You're not going to, that 18 to 25-year-old isn't going to look at someone in their late 50s in it and go, well, I want that. That's cool. Regardless of how good your t-shirt is or regardless of how good the design is, that to that are completely different. So in answer to your question, you probably need 5 or 6 broken down into male, female, and only in terms of like leggings and sports bra. I mean, I know you've worn the shorts and sports bra for an email once, but it probably didn't sell many. It might have done. We'll never know. But do you see what I mean? So you're going to need that for that demographic, that for that demographic, age to age. The location is nationwide, but if you drill it down into there, the messaging, the imagery, everything needs to be relevant to that. So you need to do it 5 or 6 times over and create the profile per bracket, if that makes sense.
It does.
So don't drill down on one.
Yeah.
Think about it.
And I think that's kind of similar to what we're doing at the moment with your email takeovers then, isn't it? Because we're trying to sort of appeal. At the moment, we're in the process of segmenting our data so that our database, so that not everybody gets everything from an email point of view. And then we'll have different methods of targeting different groups of people. Obviously, the easiest one and the one that we're going to look to do first is the sex of the people, male or female. And that's it. And that is like what we'll do moving forward. So you're sending out your style guides at the moment. I think that's been quality. So like,
I had a good response.
I know,
you were very upset.
I was supportive, but I was like, "Come on, man! She sends one email, she got 40 replies." And even one person was like, "Oh, it's nice to get an email with no swearing in it."
Well, at least she took the time to tell you.
Yeah, she told me straight. Like, it's good. It's good though. Like, I'm not for everybody.
Well, no, but that's the whole point, and it's nice that there's now 2 of us writing emails, and potentially more people later down the line, and that's why we invited Millie in, or found Millie to do the reels, which she did a much better job than I would have done, and she's absolutely smashed it. So it's just been nice to have the feedback from that. So we've been sending out style guides per week where she's put together an outfit with some of the Defiant Co stuff, and then per week. So we've done the first one, which is the canvas tote bag,
and we nearly sold out of them, which is pretty cool.
So yeah, that's the first one, and then we've got. Oh, do I say it?
Yeah, get it out.
So we've got the water bottles this week in 5 different colours.
5.
Very sexy. So yeah, that's going out. Obviously, she's not wearing the water bottle, but it does make an appearance. But yeah, I'm absolutely loving it. So we've got 4 launches. I'm only doing till Black Friday, and then Black Friday takeover, and then we've got the Joyful Christmas.
Yeah,
which we started talking about. It's
crazy, isn't it, how quick everything's coming around? But it's exciting.
Like a blink and a year's gone.
So that's pretty cool. Pretty good stuff.
Yeah, very.
So on to our topic of the show.
Subjective versus objective.
Yeah, so first I think like it's just defining the parameters of those, because people probably don't necessarily know when they're being one or the other, which is part of the problem. But objective is basically something that's fact-based, and I mean fact-based as well, not like, the nonsense facts that the media and idiots throw about. And then subjective is basically how you feel. What's your opinion? And sometimes that can be, you might lean on facts to form your opinion, but it's very important to not conflate facts with opinion. That's where the world's gone at the moment. I think it's like people are maybe, like we said earlier with the Jimmy Carr quote of life has never been objectively better, but subjectively worse. And that's true, because you think of life today, right now, you have got a phone that can access the entire world.
Everything's a few minutes away.
Yeah, you can access anything. You've got clean running water in most parts of the world. You've got
heating, if you dare put it on.
Yeah,
hence why I'm wearing a jumper.
Yeah, well, let's not get into that. Subjectively, for you, it's cold.
Baltic. It's warmer outside. We should have done the podcast outside.
But anyway, we digress. And I think, people have got, life is great. And that's not, again, that I don't feel like that should be subjective. Like, the facts are, you're not going to die from a basic infection anymore. We've got doctors that can help you. We've got electricity. We've got all this good stuff. We've got the internet. So life has never been better. But subjectively, if you listen to people, it's like it's the worst thing in the world. You'd think, you're not living in 1920s in a war. You're not living in 1800s. You know what I mean? You're not in a cave wondering where your next meal's coming from. And I think that's the problem we have today, is like people sort of act in a certain way based on how they feel about something, as opposed to the facts of the situation. You could say the world's shit and I could say it's great. It's the same world. That's just our view on it. And I think we just need to make sure that it spans so many different areas of your life, doesn't it? Because, how you act and how you see things is very important for your everyday life, whether that's professional, personal, or anything. So if you're going around thinking that you're a victim and the world hates you and the world's terrible and everything's bad, then it's just negative. And we talked about it similarly on the last podcast about how that can impact every area of your life. So I think, clearly understanding the difference between what is your opinion of the situation versus what is the situation is very important. And that's the difference between objective and subjective, because if you can look at a situation and understand what can you do to influence or change it, if the answer is nothing, then it doesn't really matter. If the facts are that this will transpire as it's going to transpire, there's nothing you can do. There's no point worrying about it. It doesn't matter how you feel, it's going to happen. So just get on with it and stop worrying and wasting your energy on stuff that you can't control, I guess.
Control the controllable.
Well, it's like that. Like we were just saying earlier with the Rogue order that's coming. We could be freaking out about that, and it's like, well, we'll just make it work regardless.
Yeah.
And there's no point in even worrying about what we can't control. We obviously want it to be here, but if it's not, it's not. So we'll just adapt, and we'll sell something else. We'll sell you. See how you do. But yeah, so I think life is good, and then life is bad. But how you react to each one of those situations is what defines you moving forward. So from an objective point of view, look at this is white. Yeah, that's objective. Like, you might see it as a different shade of white to me, but we can both agree it's white. And it's that type of mentality, I think, is understanding what is your opinion versus what is fact. And if you're able to separate those two out, you'll be much happier, because facts you can't change, your opinions you can. So, if your opinion or your philosophy or your outlook on something is making you miserable, making you sad, making you demotivated, then just change it, because that can be changed, but the facts of the situation can't. So how you look at things can determine your happiness so easily. So yeah, concentrate on being happy and having a better subjective outlook, and everything gets better. So.
Yeah, definitely. Well, we can be our world's worst enemy, can't we? Like, I had a couple of bad days last week, and I was like, oh my God, this is absolutely terrible. Yeah. And every time I went to bed, I was like, tomorrow's a new day, we can do this. Didn't change what was happening, but the thoughts that a lot of people can't help, and I do try my absolute best, the thoughts that think of 10 or 15 different scenarios surrounding each, well, it could be that, or it could be that, or it could be that, or I could do. And you can waste a lot of energy and time on it, that it makes it difficult then to see the wood through the trees. Whereas if you just take a minute, which I did have to, and go, right, what are the facts? This is what's happening. This is the most likely outcome. And there's always an A and a B, but like what we did, is you always need a backup plan. I think that's a healthy place to be. Yeah. But you also don't want to stand still in that and then worry about everything. Do something, take that one step, whether it be have that difficult conversation, whether it be send that one email, whether it be come up with the plan B, that if that doesn't happen, right, what's that? But don't spend so much time and energy worrying about the million and one things that it could be, Because generally when you sleep and you wake up the next morning, you realise that whatever you did the night before was a complete waste of time and energy.
Yeah. And it helps having people to talk to that they don't necessarily have to share your opinions, but they need to have the same positive outlook on life, I think, because obviously we're not going to go and ask a manic depressant for advice on anything. But, if you're just sometimes saying something out loud to someone.
Yeah, it makes a massive difference.
Because the amount of time we do that because we don't always you've got multiple jobs. Obviously, I've got my job full time. Sometimes when Defiant gets really on top, we'll be like, shit. And then we'll just go, right, stop. Let's have an hour, sit down and talk about it. And then you don't think you have time for that hour because you're so busy, but then you realise that hour, taking a break from the actual day-to-day and the actual, oh my God, the world's on fire, actually enables you to take a step back, strategise and make things much better.
And we both move forward.
Yeah, and so I think that's really key, is just to talk things out loud to someone that gets it and that's able to, and that doesn't just have to be professional, that can be personal as well, can't it?
Yeah.
Conversations do sometimes, just getting stuff out just makes stuff better, doesn't it?
Yeah, massively. It's what going to the gym's about, isn't it?
Well, I don't know, all that comes out of me at gym, sweat and
sweat and
shame.
As well as a group of girls that stand just to the side and then rant at each other. It takes you half an hour to warm up.
Yeah, well, I'm old. I have to warm up. Is that what you're doing when I'm warming up? You lot are all
basically offloading.
Oh, right. Well, I'm sorry, I missed
that. You're not.
No, I'm not. Right, are we done?
Yeah.
Anything more you wanted to cover? Let's get to work then.
See you later. Oh, you're getting better.
Yeah, fucking nailed.